In my hands I have every God of War game there is, and since recently was the 20th anniversary of the very first God of War, I'm going to chronologically play, rank and platinum each game, and that will be a long ass video, so I'm going to do it in 4 parts. So, on each video, I'm going to rank each game on this, never used before, tier list maker. And to make things even better, we're going to go through Kratos' history, not in detail cause that will take hours, but a somewhat complete chronology. So the first game of the chronology is of course... And stay tuned on this one, cause I literally had to pay to get this platinum. Yeah baby, I love to wait for updates. Yes, 40 minutes of waiting, that's light work baby, give me more. Oh, more updates inside the game? Perfect. So we finally start the game, and in the opening scene we learn about the Furies and their duty to enforce anyone to follow their oaths, and they are the ones who punish traitors. As an example, the very first traitor was the Hecatonchires, a titan who betrayed Zeus, so the Furies imprisoned him, and used his body to make a prison out of him. We start a new game, obviously on hard mode, cause there's always a trophy for completing the game on hard, so the game starts with Kratos chained up and being tortured by a Fury. And holy shit, this game looks good. That's impressive really. So we will break up our chains and attack the Fury. Once we escape, we start chasing her through the prison of the Dam, and get our first trophy. Now we complete the combat tutorial, and I gotta say again that this looks amazing. We're gonna talk a bit about the combat later, but by now it was truly impressive. Anyway, we keep following her and get the trophy Unleashed, and after it we fight our first big monster. We behead him in all the gory glory of God of War and get a trophy for it. Now the game suddenly turns into a Tony Hawk game, and a bit after, we find our first special item out of 10 in the game. We fight our first Cyclops, and this showed me that the gore in this game it's amazing. I mean, look at that shit. We fight another one of the giants and get a trophy for killing 25 enemies using the Rage of the Gods. Way after the fight, Kratos finds a little house. He goes in and it's received by a lot of naked women. But Kratos ain't a dumb guy, he knows when something is sketchy. So he puts his thinking cap and goes, why are these women here in the middle of a prison trying to hook up with me? And upon seeing the Omega ring in the hand of one of them, he discovers that it's a trap! And it was a Fury all along. So as you can see, Kratos is a smart guy. He is so smart that he subscribed to my channel. Maybe you should too. You know? Now we fight the Hecatonchires, now turned into a real monster. We make him eat one of the beasts and get a trophy biting the hand that feeds you. And now the chapter ends with Kratos killing the Fury that was torturing him. Now we learn that Kratos doesn't actually fully know what's going on. He can't remember what has happened before he was imprisoned. So now we go 3 weeks earlier in time, where Kratos' mind was tricking him with illusions. There he meets Orcos, who helps him get back to reality. So you know, Orcos is just a good guy, he wants Kratos to be free. So he tells him to seek the Oracle in Delphi. Ahead we reach the village of Kira, where we find our first Gorgon Eye and the first Phoenix Feather. Now we fight and brutally open the skull of an elephant and get the trophy Open-Minded. In the same place we also find the second special item as well as the second feather and the second Gorgon Eye. We keep going and get the trophy that's gonna leave a mark for spilling 500 buckets of blood. Now we find the first element of the blades, that is the Fire of Ares. And after finishing that tutorial we find the next eye. We find a broken water mill and use it to go to the next zone, where we find the third feather as well as the fourth and fifth eye, upgrading our life for the first time. Get another trophy and keep on our way. We reach the cistern, then we get another eye, and reach the element Eyes of Poseidon. Upon finishing that zone, we reach the 7th eye. We find a really big metal snake, and Kratos opens a contraption that was holding it. Now we are traveling on top of the snake. And I know this game is very polarized between fans, but nobody can deny that this is totally beautiful. Anyway, we reach a tower, and the snake powers up a part of it. We climb the tower and inside we find the next feather, and outside we find the next Gorgon Eye. We reach the top of the tower, and far away we see the Tower of Delphi. We kill a Chimera, and now I upgraded one of the elements and received the trophy Big Spender. And right after got the Tools of the Trade trophy for using all 5 weapons you can find in the world. We keep going and find another eye as well as the next element, Lightning of Zeus. And upon completing the tutorial we find the next feather as well as another eye, getting an upgrade on each one. We open the bracelet on another one of the snakes and we ride it back to the tower. And since we have powered up the tower completely, we get the trophy Snakes on a Train. We go inside the tower again, where we're going to find another item. Up the tower we go, where we fight this shit, and after killing it we get a trophy. We finally reach the Temple of Delphi, and after Kratos inhales a suspicious gas, we get the trophy Gateway Gas. This gas changes the world around us, so by breathing it we can enter new places. So doing that, in the same room we find another feather and another eye. We get introduced to this guy named Castor, kind of a guardian of this place, I don't really know. After that we're going through multiple puzzles, and on the way we find the feather number 7, 8, 9 and 10, as well as the next 4 eyes. We reach another puzzle, and there we find the next special item, as well as 2 more feathers and another Gorgon Eye. We complete the puzzle and go down in the elevator, finally reaching the Oracle's chamber, with Castor won't let us here without an offering. So of course, Kratos will fight his way in. Castor makes the Oracle fall to the void, Kratos defeats Castor by ripping his brother from his body, and finishing with a stomp. So Kratos retrieves an item from Castor, the Amulet of Ouroboros, and we receive another trophy. Now this amulet is very interesting. It allows us to heal or decay structures, so we're going to use it to reach the Oracle, who's almost dead. So Kratos talks to the Oracle and she shows him the truth. Ultimately, she tells Kratos to defeat the Furies to be free, and to find the Eyes of Truth in the Lantern of Delos to avoid illusions. After talking with the Oracle, we find our first decayed chest out of 7. It's basically a broken chest that we can now repair with the amulet. We find another feather, and with the amulet we repair a whole water bridge that goes back to the system where we've been before, and right there we find our next Gorgonite. We keep backtracking and we find 4 more decayed chests. Once again we reach the water mill. This time we fix it with the help of the amulet, and upon doing that we receive the trophy Handyman. Now we use the water mill as an elevator to reach the grotto, where we are going to find our next eye and feather. And ahead we get another one of the special items. We reach a pier where we find the last feather, getting the trophy Light as a Feather. And we also get the next Gorgonite, leaving us with only one left. We board one of the boats and Orko appears, which basically explains to Kratos that he betrayed the Furies because he saw the injustice that Kratos has to face. Basically, Orcos is the son of the Furies and the God of War, conceived to be the ultimate warrior, to be used by them to take control of the Olympus. But Orcos was no warrior, so they chose Kratos instead, making him kill his family in order to be the perfect warrior. Anyway, we are now back in the present day, where we repair the prison of the Damned to reach the remaining Furies. And finally, we get the last Gorgonite, and we receive the trophy The Eyes Have It. Kratos finds himself again inside an illusion made by the Furies, but as we know, Kratos is a smart boy, so he sees through it.
This is Sparta!
We find another item, and upon reaching the prison again, we find the next decayed chest, and after it we reach the Martyr's chamber. It's basically a quick puzzle, not hard by any means, but there is a trophy in this room. Basically, we have to jump on top of this cage while the Martyr is on the torture device. Once we do that, we get the trophy You Bastard. We reach the Fury and rip something from her beast, which takes us back 2 weeks earlier when Kratos reaches Delos, searching for the Eyes of Truth. So we get inside the statue and we face multiple puzzles in order to advance. And after reaching the foot of Apollo, we find the last decayed chest, and upon getting it, we receive a trophy. We reach the gauntlet of Apollo and face another illusion of the Fury that we killed in the beginning. So we fight her, and now we can see why she was missing an arm. Anyway, we keep fighting the Furies and it seems that Kratos managed to kill one, but it was an illusion. The Furies defeat Kratos and trap him, but luckily for Kratos, Orcos appears and teleports him out of the place, and gives him the old Stone of Orcos, and we receive the trophy Bros Before Foes. Shout out to the guy that put the names on these trophies, what a genius. Right after we find the next special item, and use the Stone of Orcos to complete various puzzles. After a long way up, we reach the furnace, where we find another item, and while completing the puzzle of the furnace, we get a Swinger trophy for pushing an enemy out of the ring with a mace. Long story short, we elevate the Lantern of Delos and go back to the furnace. We slide down to it and we receive the trophy looped up by not getting hurt by sliding down. We go up with an elevator and find another special item, leaving only one left. Finally, we reach the head of Apollo and we repair it. And after various puzzles, we reach a special one. The Trial of Archimedes, where we finally get the Eyes of Truth, but this is where hell begins. Now we have to face a trial where we have to go up an elevator and on each, let's say, floor, we fight various enemies, without healing ourselves and without getting more magic. And it's really hard, and I mean really hard. I'm not exaggerating when I say that it took about 3 hours for me to finally reach the top. And here shines the only problem I've got with this game so far. And the thing is that the problem lies on the very core of God of War, and sadly that is the combat. They try to explore new mechanics, and though they are fine most of the time, more often than not, they feel unresponsive, mostly when there are a lot of enemies on screen. For a game that on every entry prior to this one had a very basic but responsive and fun combat, this feels like a big step back. Things like the fact that now you have to press 2 buttons to perform a parry, and that every enemy can stop your combo, makes the gameplay one of the weak parts of the game. To not even mention that the enemies don't get stunned by your attacks most of the time, leaving a feeling of weakness, making the combat more of a frustrating part of the game instead of the enjoying part that it should be. Anyway, we finally reached the top and get a fucking trophy. Also, we find the last special item and get the trophy No Drake, You Can't Have This. Once again, we face the Furies, who have captured Orcos, but this time they also get Kratos. We are quickly introduced to the fate of Kratos. For breaking his oath with the God of War, he is now a prisoner of the Furies, and that will take us to the beginning of the game. But now we are in the present day, once again, into the Fury Citadel. The Furies make an ultimate offering to Kratos with an illusion where he can finally be with his family, and looks like Kratos almost fell for it, but he prefers reality over illusion.
It is not real.
So we fight the Furies for the last time. We retrieve the Eyes of Truth, and since I have already upgraded all the weapons, we get the fully loaded trophy. And after a long battle where we fight one of the Furies turned into a Kraken, we finally defeat her, and also defeat the other Fury that to the end tried to deceive him with illusions. And we get the Bone Broken trophy for completing the game, and the Legendary Warrior trophy for completing the game on hard difficulty. At the end of the game, Kratos is back on his home, where he has a conversation with Orcus, where Kratos learns that Orcus is his Oathkeeper, so he has to kill him in order to be freed. Orcus asks him to kill him and to kill Ares, so Kratos does, and now he is burdened again with the visions of the murder of his family. Finally, he burns down the house, and we are now set for the next game. Bro, wait a second there. Before doing that, we have to finish this one. So these are the trophies I missed. For the first one, we have to go to the first chapter, reach the combat tutorial where this dude transforms into a monster. And now we just have to hit him to keep the rage meter for 2 minutes. Make sure to not advance in the tutorial so he will spawn infinite times. And after 2 minutes of it, we finally get the trophy. For the next one, we have to go to chapter 19, where we need the special triangle attack with the Soul of Hades. So we level it up, and we are going to spam the R1 plus triangle attack on the wall that is beside us, until we reach a 1000 combo. Once we do, we get the trophy. Now we go to chapter 21, and we reach this elevator, so we have to get to the top without getting hurt by the fire traps. So while I was doing that, I got the trophy Hello Friend for using the Stone of Orcus 10 times. And once we reach the top and kill all enemies, we get the Fireproof trophy. Now I have only 3 trophies left, and right there is where I fucked up. I started a New Game Plus, and after playing it for 3.5 hours, weirdly the whole seed trophy wasn't popping up. So I searched online, and turns out that in New Game Plus, you can't get any trophy. I was truly devastated by this, one of the saddest days of my life. I haven't felt this sad ever, not even when my dog died, not even when all my family died and I had to live under a bridge. I want to ask you something. Who suffered more, Jesus or me? Anyway, I started a new game. I killed Castor for the 3rd time and got to the amulet. Now I just have to spam the power of the amulet until the trophy pops up. We keep playing the game until Orcus gives Kratos his stone, and same as before, we have to spam its power in combat until the trophy pops up. Now it's time for the last trophy, yes, the premium trophy. With all the pain in my heart, I had to pay $10 whole to buy the game again. Since where I live there's no such thing as PS Now to stream the game from my PS4, this was the only way. So I went to the store and bought the game. That, as you can see, comes with the online pass. So we install the online pass and start the game again. We go to multiplayer and begin the tutorial. Once we finish it, we get the Blood Owl trophy and the platinum. And since I paid $10 fucking for this, I started a multiplayer match, and to my surprise, there is people playing. And of course, I got humiliated. If you want to ease my pain, you can subscribe right now. In my personal rank, I will place this game on a solid B. It has its problems and various bugs that I found. Overall, an enjoyable experience. So for context, this game is set around 223 BC, 6 months after Kratos kills his family. So now we move 5 years ahead into the timeline and we begin. We take a quick peek at the trophies, and right off the bat we're going to start the game on hard since there is a trophy that requires us to. I'm not particularly craving for playing this game twice. So the game starts on the middle of a war, where the gods sent Kratos to defend Attica from the Persian army. So you know, it's Kratos time. We destroy a navy and get the trophy Man Overboard, and right down we have the first encounter with the Basilisk, the pet of the Persian army. We defeat it for the first time and get the trophy Swing Batter. Up ahead we get our first Gorgon Eye out of 15 to get the trophy Eye for an Eye, and right ahead we get the second one. We keep advancing and cross one of these tiny bridges, and for some reason we get the trophy All Being Whilst Completed. After that we fight the Persian king. We defeat him and Kratos gives him a goodnight kiss. We acquire the power of the Efreet and get the trophy Persian History X. And for some reason, right there where the fight was taking place, two twins are waiting for Kratos' might. So of course we engage in that for the red orbs. I mean, everyone does it for the red orbs, right? Anyway, we get the trophy 2 Girls 1 Spartan, and I really hope that it is not a reference to what I think it is. Ahead we shoot a crossbow to the Basilisk that is basically destroying the city, and also we destroy this house in the middle, getting the trophy Collateral Damage. And right after we find our first Phoenix Feather out of 15. Right after we get our 3rd and 4th Gorgon Eye. This last one was on the tiny house that we destroyed before, and right after we get the 2nd feather. Now we complete a little puzzle involving a box and a body, enter a building and get the 3rd feather. We reached the final fight with the Basilisk, and I noticed that in the first 30 minutes of gameplay we got 5 trophies already, but I haven't had a trophy in the last 10 minutes, so sadly that makes this game totally unplayable. Straight to F tier, I'm sorry buddy. We defeat the Basilisk in the classical quick time event way of Kratos and get the boom trophy. After defeating the Basilisk, Kratos noticed that something fell from the sky, and upon arriving at the place of impact, Kratos sees the Temple of Helios has fallen, and since there is no sun, Morpheus has awakened on Earth, and right there we get the 4th feather. Now that I can, I upgraded the Blades of Chaos, receiving the trophy Big Spender, and while advancing to the temple, I got the 5th Gorgon Eye, upgrading my life, then the 6th one and the 5th feather. We use a card on fire to move through Morpheus' fog, and upon reaching the Ego from the Ice Age, we get the Morpheus defeated trophy. Finally, we reach the temple and talk to Athena. Kratos begs for the gods to free him from his nightmares and servitude, and of course, his request is denied. Instead, he's given the task to find Helios and return him to the sky to banish Morpheus' power. Once in the temple, we get the 7th Gorgon Eye, and right after the 6th feather. We enter the temple and get the feather number 7. We get down on an elevator, and down we find the statue of Eos, who tells us that the Titan Atlas has abducted his brother, and also asks us to find him. After that, we find the 8th Gorgon Eye. Man, these saves are everywhere. Give me a break. We destroy Helios' throne and get the power of the Sun Shield that allows us to finally be able to parry enemies' attacks. And one floor above we find the Night Eye. With the shield we can now access new zones in the temple, where we find some puzzles inside. Then the next feather, and we activate the first of the 3 horses of Helios. Now a portal has opened and we take the eye number 10. Inside the portal we go, and we find ourselves in the caves of Olympus, and right there we're going to find the next eye. We climb up and acquire the Triton's lance that will allow us to breathe underwater. How convenient, right? And we get the trophy Merman's Delight. Underwater we find the next feather. Ahead we fight a Minotaur, that I don't know why, but it's always my favorite enemy in the God of War games. It's just so cool, man, look at that. We finally meet Eos, who, again, tells us to save his brother.
I am but a slave to Zeus and Olympus.
6.5 hours later.
I am a slave to no one, Charon.
And gives us her word that he will convince the gods to free Kratos from his past. Spoiler alert, that never happens. But anyway, she tells Kratos to find the fire that will guide him to his brother and blah blah blah. After talking with Eos, we find another Gorgon Eye and we keep advancing. Finally, we retrieve the primordial fire that allows us to reject enemy projectiles, and we obtain the trophy Back at Ya. After that, we get another feather and our magic is upgraded. We now go back to the portal and use the fire to open new zones within the temple. We return to the same elevator as before, which now takes us to the top of the temple, where we find yet another Phoenix feather and another Gorgon Eye. On the top of the temple, we are faced with a puzzle. We complete it, activating another horse. Now we go down to get another feather, and ahead we get the next eye. Only one left. We power the last horse, we get out of the temple and go back to the bridge. Once we reach the chariot, we activate it, getting the trophy horsing around. Now the chariot takes us to the underworld, and in the way, Kratos suffers the same nightmares of him killing his wife and daughter. Right after we reach the underworld, we get the last Gorgon Eye, granting us the Eye for an Eye trophy, and close to it we find another feather. We keep advancing, find some Cyclops, and get the next feather. In the end of the section, we call the boat of Charon. We board the boat, but Charon doesn't want to take Kratos, so we fight, and I got the rejected trophy for parrying 50 attacks. So he defeats me, and I thought this was like a death cutscene, but it seems that we are supposed to lose. So now we appear chained to the wall. We break free and get the Ching Chang trophy, and right there we find the last feather, getting the trophy for the birds. We reach some kind of temple and we find the skeleton with a key. We use his body to make a contraption appear and the key to make a bridge to another zone, where we're going to find Zeus' gauntlet, getting the Power Glove trophy. With the gauntlet we can now open new zones, so we reach the Tartarus, where the Titans are prisoners. We make some puzzles to open this kind of bridge and we get the trophy Bow Down for moving this Titan. Now we cross a long ass chain and we get a trophy for it. Once again we reach Charon's boat and we fight him again. I gotta say it, man, it's a tough fight. The first tough enemy I found in this game. But of course we defeat him and get the trophy Fare Thee Well. We reach the Temple of Persephone and there Kratos sees their daughter Calliope. Upon arriving we receive the Charon's Wrath, one of the best powers, that allows us to set enemies on fire. We now enter the temple, the most tedious part of the game, and we have to follow Calliope through it. We do so fighting through a lot of rooms filled with enemies, where I died a lot, believe me, it's pretty annoying. And finally we reach the Groves of Persephone, where we find her sitting, and she convinces Kratos to leave his power to be reunited with Calliope in the Elysium Fields. And of course, Kratos, a loving father, accepts and abandons all his power. We enter the Elysium and get a trophy Tree Hugger. Kratos gets reunited with Calliope, but Persephone does not have good intentions with this. I know, crazy, right? Turns out that Persephone is the one who released Atlas and tasks him to abduct Helios. This means the destruction of Earth and also the Elysium. So Kratos' daughter will die again, so he has to leave her to defeat Persephone. Persephone, and the developers were evil about this. They could have made a cutscene where Kratos talked to his daughter or something, but instead they make us push the kid away by pushing circle. That is just evil, man. And now they make us kill innocent people in Elysium to retrieve our power. What the heck? Well, I did it, not because I wanted to, okay? My hands are tied here. Kratos leaves Calliope, and now after all that killing, I have enough red orbs to finish the last upgrade of my arsenal. And we get the You Complete Me trophy. Now we fight Persephone, and at first the fight was really hard, so I died a few times, and got the Cool Story Bro trophy for watching the cutscene 3 times. We reach the second phase, and with a quick time event, Kratos chains Atlas' hands to the earth, and we get the Atlas in Chains trophy. Finally, we defeat Persephone, and we get a rush of dopamine by getting 3 trophies at the same time. Kratos has a little chat with Atlas, where he says that he will serve the gods and they will keep their promise to free him, which really shows how desperate Kratos is, cause he's been saying through all the game that he doesn't trust the gods, but if anything, this really shows the pain of Kratos.
It is all I have, Atlas!
So well, Kratos saves the world. We hit the credits, and now we have a Marvel type after credit scene where Kratos falls to the ground from the Helios chariot. He is saved at the last moment by Athena and Helios, and they take his weapons, leaving the ground set for the next game. Now to finish the platinum, we have quite a few trophies left. First we're going to do the challenges, so we start with the first one, obviously. That consists on burning 50 soldiers with the Efreet. We finish it and jump to the second one, where we have to kill 20 enemies without being touched. Easy task, of course. So we do the third one, where we are progressively losing life, and we have to kill all enemies before it runs out. This one was a bit more difficult, but of course I got it. In the fourth challenge, we have to break all objects in the room before time runs out. A super easy one. So we go right to the last one, where we have to fight with a lot of enemies for 10 minutes straight, which I got on the third attempt, getting the Piece of Cake trophy. Now we're going to do 3 trophies at the same time. So we start a new game, by selecting a custom. We start the game and get the Cosplayer trophy. Now we will advance to the end of the level and we're going to push the Basilisk to the wall, but instead of making the quick time event, we're going to hit him to increase our hit combo. Upon reaching the 200, we will get the Hit Me Baby trophy. And upon reaching the 1000 hits, we will get the Heavy Hitter trophy. Now luckily I've been making different saves throughout the game, so now I can load the game before the fight with Persephone, where I enter the Elysium. So we enter again and reach the part where we have to push Calliope, but we're not going to touch anything for a minute. This will give us a trophy, Old Softy. Finally we're going to load the game on the infamous Persephone temple, and reaching this room we're going to kill 50 satyrs by slitting their throats. Of course, there aren't 50 satyrs here, but if we die we can reset them, and the count still progresses. So finally we kill the 50 and get the Madam for Punishment trophy. And since we are already here, we are going to turn to stone with these heads, and by doing it 5 times in a row, we get the Stoner trophy and the Platinum. I personally think that this game sits well in the B rank. It's as fun as any other God of War, but I will not play it again since to me, it does not offer the same quality as some of the other games do. That is to expect, of course. This was a PSP game, kind of a secondary game in the franchise. So yeah, I think that B is the perfect place for it. Now we jump 5 more years into the timeline and begin. But there's a tiny problem. I already have the platinum of God of War 1. But I'ma do it again, just for you. Handsome. So I jumped to my secondary account and started the game. Now we can see the trophies, and since I already have the platinum, I'm going to try and do it in only one run. So I gotta focus on these missable ones, mostly on this one, because I really don't want to play this game twice. So we start the game on normal difficulty, since this game doesn't require us to do it on hard difficulty like the other ones. The game starts with Kratos jumping off a cliff, hoping to seize all the visions, all his madness. But we now go 3 weeks earlier on the Aegean Sea, where the gods sent Kratos to kill the Hydra. So we face it a couple times, and on the way we get our first trophy for opening a green chest with full health. We reach the captain's room, but we need a key to access it. So we move forwards and reach our first Gorgon Eye. Ahead we talk with Poseidon, who grants us the power Poseidon's Rage, and we obtain the trophy 1.21 gigawatts. Finally, we find the captain, who's hidden by the Hydra. So now we have to kill the 2 side heads and finish it with the bigger one. And once dead, we get inside it and retrieve the key from the captain and get the trophy. It's a huge one. We keep advancing, and on top of the Hydra, we get our second eye. Now we go back to the door and we open it, where Kratos finds a lot of dead women and men. This scene gives him flashbacks of his past, where we can see that he also has killed a lot of innocent people. Tired of the gods' bullshit, Kratos calls Athena to complain, since he has served the gods for 10 years, but he still hasn't been forgiven or freed from his nightmares. So Athena promises Kratos that he will be free once he does a final task, kill Ares, who is now destroying the city of Athens. Once the boat arrives at port, we can access the first and only sex minigame, and as I stated before, we are doing it for the orbs. Don't forget that. and for that we get the trophy rocking the boat. Now we reach Athens and we are immediately faced with a lot of enemies. We get our first feather and we face some minotaurs. Once we defeat them we get the Matador trophy. After that we get another eye and reach the power Medusa's gaze. And upon completing the tutorial we get the rocking out trophy. And ahead we destroy this wall to get the second feather, and next we find the fourth Gorgon eye. Once we get out of that zone we reach the spirit, I guess, of the Oracle of Athens, who tells us to find her temple so she can help us kill Ares. Now we get to the street of Athens, where in the background we can see Ares making a mess, and we find 3 more eyes and 2 more feathers. In the end we reach the town square where we get another pair of eyes, while Kratos follows a girl that is terrified of him. And when Kratos finally catches up to her, she's so scared that she falls from the balcony and dies. Poor Kratos, he just wanted guidance. Anyway, after that we get another feather, woohoo! We get down to town square again and pick a key from the girl's body, and we use that key to open a hatch that will take us into the roof of Athens, where we find quite a few more eyes and feathers. And we get another power, being the lightning of Zeus, and we get the bolt action trophy. Ahead we get 2 more eyes and another feather. We use the lightning bolt to kill this man that is holding the bridge down, and once we cross it we get another eye as well as another feather, and upon going down an elevator we finally reach the Oracle, who is immediately abducted by the harpies of Ares. Immediately we get another feather and another eye, meaning that we only need 3 more eyes for the trophy. We finally reach the Temple of the Oracle, where outside we get another feather and another eye, and inside we get 2 more eyes, meaning we get the Kratos Marble Collection trophy. Finally, I was getting tired of counting so many eyes.
Leave me alone!
Finally, we reach the Oracle, who is now hanging from a rope to a certain death, and in order to get the Don't Leave Her Hanging trophy, we have to speedrun that shit. And we do, but also we took our sweet time to get this other feather. Time to save the Oracle, and we do it with just 1 second to spare, of course getting the trophy. And the Oracle sees inside the mind of Kratos, where we get a bit more of his past as a captain. In the end, the Oracle tells us to find Pandora's box, the only thing in the world that can grant Kratos the strength to kill a god. So we get on our way to the desert where the box is, and on the way we get 2 more feathers. We pass the sewers and the road of Athens to reach the desert, where Athena tells us that in order to safely cross the desert we have to find and kill 3 sirens. We kill them all and get inside a temple in the desert where we blow a horn that opens the sands. Then we reach another horn, but to use it we have to kill a bunch of sirens, and once we do that we get another trophy. We use the horn, and in the distance, Kronos, the last titan who is carrying the temple of Pandora on its back, comes close to us. So Kratos goes up to the temple. Outside the temple we find another feather, and then we go in, reaching the rings of Pandora. Kind of a giant puzzle made out of tiny puzzles. Inside we get our next power, that is actually the Blade of Artemis. And we get the Swordman trophy. We now reach the challenge of Atlas and face various enemies. And while fighting I got a 100 combo, giving me the Hitman trophy. Upon completing the puzzle we find the first shield out of 2 to complete this room. We then go back where we began and open our way down the room, where we find the second shield, and right after we are cornered by various enemies. Which is perfect actually, because that makes this room the perfect place for achieving a 200 hit combo. That gives us the Hitman 2 trophy. We then put both shields on the door and get in, following our way to the next room, where we find a statue of Apollo. Behind it we get the first Muse key, and in the same room we get the next feather. Now we have to go to another place since we need to find a lever for the statue. So going back we find a room and end up on a bridge where we get another feather, and further we find the room where the lever is. We pick it up and make our way back to the statue. By using it on it we will raise the big ball that he has on his arms, and with this other lever we hit it, opening our door, and we get the ball rolling trophy. Behind that door we find the first grave, where we take the head of the architect's son. We get another flashback where we see when Kratos gives his life to Ares in exchange for help to defeat his enemies. And now back in the ring, we use the head to open another level of the ring. Now we face the challenge of Poseidon, and immediately we have to fight one of the most annoying enemies of this game, but once we defeat Cerberus, we get another trophy. In the next zone we get the other Muse key and get the Key to Success trophy. Finally we reach a puzzle room where we have to sacrifice a Spartan soldier. Once we do, we get a Totally Baked trophy. And in the next room we get another feather, leaving us only with 1 left. And in the same room we get Poseidon's trident, which allows us to breathe underwater. Now we go underwater and we steal a little smooch from this thing and get the Splash trophy. And upon kissing another one we get the last feather, and we obtain the Stick It in Your Cap trophy. Once again we are in the ring, and since we are here I went to the Muse room to upgrade our health and magic, and of course to get tons of red orbs. Now we reach the last puzzle room and go straight to the challenge of Hades, where we have to kill 5 centaurs inside these 2 blue circles, which is really easy with the power of Poseidon, and by doing that we get another trophy. In the end of the puzzle we open the big door from the start, freeing Pandora's guardian. We kill it and get the trophy. Now, there's not much left. Stay with me, okay? I need you focused. Here, look at some Subway Surfers gameplay. Now, behind the door where the Guardian was, we find the head of the other Architect's son, and back to the ruins we go. But on the way back, we get the last power, this time from 80s, and get the Soul Surge trophy. Now back to the ruins we go and put the head on this place, draining all the water out. Now it's just a matter of aligning all these rings and use this contraption to cast the ray of light that will collide with the one on the center ring, opening our way into the next zone, where we find ourselves with the most annoying top 1 stupidest enemy on this game. The fucking satyr, man. But once we kill the first one, we get a trophy. Now Kratos has another flashback, following the one prior to this. Now we can see how Ares gives in the Blaze of Chaos, chaining them to his body, allowing him to defeat the barbarians. Ahead we reach the Cliffs of Madness, and I'm not gonna lie, I speedrun the shit out of it. So I didn't record that much, but basically you have to find these 2 necklaces, and we get a trophy for completing the puzzle on one of them. Now we place both necklaces on these statues, and that opens the bridge to the next area, where Kratos gets more flashbacks, basically reinforcing what we saw in God of War Ascension. You know, Ares tricked Kratos into killing his whole family, and from that moment he decides to take revenge on the God of War. We reach the Architect's tomb, and upon completing the puzzle to get in, we rip off the head of the Architect's wife, giving us the Headhunter trophy. And after using it, on the door behind, after a final trial, we can see the Pandora's box. Once we complete the trial, we finally get the box, and with it we get the Power to Kill a God trophy. Athena makes another appearance and tells Kratos to take the box to Athens, so he can use it to kill Ares. But once Kratos took the box outside of the temple, back in Athens, Ares throws what it looks like a giant nail, right to Kratos' body. Now Kratos is dying and having more visions of his past, where after what he has done, the oracle of that village cursed Kratos to carry the ashes of his family on his skin, giving him the title of Ghost of Sparta. Kratos now falls to hell, but this is Kratos we're talking about, so he managed to reach a safe space, the path of Hades, where I died a lot of time to these fucking rolling pillars, and I got a trophy for dying a lot of times. How humiliating. Up ahead we reach this rolling pillar, so in order to get the You Get a Touch trophy, we have to climb it without taking damage. So I did it on the very first try, and of course got the trophy. Now we have reached the end of a level, and now we can go up to the living world. Upon doing that we get the trophy, Get Me a Beer Kid. Finally we catch up to Ares. Kratos uses a lightning bolt to retrieve the box, and he opens it, putting him at the same level of Ares. Now we finally fight Ares. After fighting for a while, we reach the second phase, where Ares teleports us to an empty world, where we have to defend our family from hundreds of Kratos. Finally I reached the end of the section when this crap happened.
No! God, please, no!
So I had to do it all again. Anyway, once we pass that vision, we get to the final fight, where we use a sword that we took from Athena's statue, and after defeating Ares, we get the God Killer trophy. After accomplishing his task, now Kratos begs for the gods to free him from his nightmares. But there's a catch. The gods promise him to forgive his sins, and so they did, but by no means they are erasing his past. So, defeated, Kratos goes to the highest cliff he can find, and we finish where we started, with Kratos falling to his death. But when he hits the water, the gods raise him up to the door of the Olympus, where he takes the throne as the new God of War. We get the trophy for finishing the game, and sadly we haven't reached the end in less than 5 hours, and I'm 5000 red orbs away from fully upgrading all my weapons. So first of all, I'm going to focus on getting all weapons maxed out, and to do that I'm going to load the game just before the fight with Ares. And when we fight him, just before reaching the second phase, we are going to fail the last quick time event. There are only 2 by the way. Doing this will allow us to get infinite red orbs, so it's just a matter of doing it the same thing over and over again until we upgrade all weapons and get the trophy. Now for the trophy Speed of Jason McDonald, I made a save 3 hours into the run just in case I didn't make it before 5 hours, so I loaded it and played it from that point to the end, reaching the final battle half an hour earlier. So we kill Ares, get to the throne, and now we get the trophy. For the last 2 trophies we just need to watch this video on the treasure section. We can just skip it actually, and we get the trophy Legend of the Twins. For the last trophy we have to complete all 10 Challenge of the Gods. Not a big deal, most of them are easy enough. I say that the hardest one is the number 8, where you have to fight what it seems to be infinite enemies. I generally got it after around 2 hours of trying. I really thought that it would be easy since I've done it before, but not really, just as bullshit as it was. The other one that is a pain in the ass is the 10th challenge, where we have to kill the 2 most annoying enemies on a small area that by the way is boogie as fuck, where most of your deaths will look like this. But upon finishing it, we get the trophy and the platinum.
I mean, it's alright, like...
Well, I guess that means I'm free. I live again!
I will also place this game on B rank. Like, I'm sure that at the time of launch it will obviously be an S tier, but to this day, at least to me, it didn't age well. Maybe it's just me, but I played it quite a few times now and I don't really enjoy it. Also, it has challenge number 8 and I can't let that slide.
Fuck you!
Thank you so much for watching, I hope to see you in the next part. Here you have more videos and subscribe and leave a like. And if you want to help me get to more people, please watch another one of my videos to help me with the algorithm. Thank you again, adios. You still here? Well, if you want to see my videos in Spanish, you can go to my secondary channel, link in the description.
Fuck you!